Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. In today's video, we take a look at that one particular episode from the first season where when your parents tell you not to do something you'll regret later on, perhaps it's for the best you listen to them. Today's episode is titled The Price of Admission. First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. The episode begins with Lincoln wanting to see the new horror movie, The Harvester, but his mom won't allow it. When he sneaks off to see it anyway, he becomes paranoid thinking the Harvester is really going to come after him in the dark. He stays up all night trying to avoid falling asleep by trying to do things with his sisters, but the next day when his parents take him to see the movie, he confesses to having already seen it without their permission. All is forgiven as the episode ends with all three of them going to see the Blarney movie instead. I still can't get over the idea of an 11-year-old seeing a movie intended for kids way younger than him. He and Clyde have a very strange taste for movies. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. This episode has become, for lack of a better term, banned throughout most of the world except for Central and Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia. The real question is, why does it need to be removed from rotation when there's honestly nothing bad about it? Well, the reason we're given is because the episode is paired with One Flew Over the Loud House, but at least One Flew has a reason for not airing, mostly being due to the story containing themes that mirror the COVID-19 pandemic. It seems like Nickelodeon can't just, air the episode on its own and simply pair it with something else to fill time. The last instance of this episode airing on American television was for some kind of spooktacular marathon, I believe earlier in 2021 when they were promoting the new episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark? It seems very silly to pull this episode from television, but it's still available for streaming and DVD releases, so it's not a total loss. Anyway, let's get on with the actual review. This episode isn't bad per se, but when it comes to the story, it's very predictable and it pretty much played out the way one would expect. Lincoln thought he was mature enough to watch a slasher film, and yet he was more terrified than he thought he would be. I wish I could say this is the only time he takes his beliefs of a movie way too far, but this happens again in episodes like Last Loud on Earth and The Boss Maybe, the latter showing Clyde more willing to go along with watching a horror movie than he was in this episode. Not sure why he'd take the chance there and not here, but I guess someone besides Rita had to be a voice of reason. Speaking of Rita, and I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I have to give her a point for being a good parent in this one. She knew what would happen if Lincoln saw that movie, and yet against her own judgment, she figured her own son might in fact be old enough to handle the Harvester, and that's why she bought tickets to go see it with him. She gave him the benefit of the doubt when she said he's not a baby anymore and she was no longer going to treat him like one. However, she was ultimately right when she disallowed her son to see the movie in the first place because it turned out Lincoln was more of a baby than he realized, and his all-nighter proved he wasn't ready for the Harvester yet, if at all. His near-fatal encounters were as cliche as they come, with him amplifying his own fears by misinterpreting what he's hearing, feeling, and seeing. Apparently, he can't properly identify his own dad's shadow. Of course, his dad is also freaked out by horror movies, and at least he makes it known publicly. I mean, there were some humorous bits to this episode, like Lincoln convincing Lenny it was morning and then seeing her walk to school in her night clothes, and seeing him imagine his pillows as real, living people. I guess the only good thing would be the parents not coming down hard on their son when Lincoln admits to disobeying them. They decided his fear-driven insomnia was more than enough punishment for what he went through, so it was a fairly respectable ending. Not by a lot, but it was something. Overall, this episode isn't anything too special. Like I said, it's not really bad, but it's also not very engaging either. Unless you're into the kind of storyline where someone is scared because they saw a horror movie and they become traumatized to the point where they believe the movie can happen in real life, this one might not be for everyone. Between lots of predictability to the plot and the very much expected ending, it's one of those skip it if you want sort of deals. On the whole, I still find it good enough to not outright consider it below average or failing, so it just is what it is. With that said, I give The Price of Admission a 7 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of The Price of Admission. Much like One Flew, will this episode make a comeback to television once the COVID-19 pandemic is over? It would be nice, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, whenever that may be. So what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.